breaking down into two parts. The point where you realize you should get something for it, for what you've done, and the latter part is how much. And they're both really dependent on your experience, size of gig, as we've all mentioned. So there's a lot of things to think about. But I think at the end of the day, as long as you're getting something in return, that's most important, whether it is monetary or non-monetary. Just do it out of the goodness of your heart and because you really love to do and show your craft, I think. I guess don't think about it too much. I'm saying that more for this audience, I think. Because like not being real, not all of us are set out to make a career in this. So like, just see how it goes for you. I think don't think about too much about like that stuff, but have that in mind and be prepared that when you do, like you have that click in your mind that you do believe in yourself, that you believe that you should receive something in return for what you've put in, then apply what you've heard today. But before that comes, just enjoy everything. Not to take away from what everyone has said, but I just want to add to it and put it into perspective for this audience in particular, and because that was a really good question from you as well, in terms of this audience here. It's really hard to determine all these factors, but I guess as a community, just communicate and talk to people that you believe are experienced and well versed in that field, these guys here, and we'll help you through it.
Yeah. I would agree totally. It's not everyone's, I didn't mean to come across like, no, you get you free. It's not for everyone to make this your whole career, but just like you said, I think it's important to keep in mind that this is still a career for a lot of people. It is still, and it is a hustle. You still gotta hustle. I'm sorry. Even if you're not gonna make a career out of it, you gotta hustle. You gotta hustle yourself some nice shoes or a hat or something. It's in it. It's in the dance. It's a little bit of check me out. You know what I mean? A little bit of what do you got. It's important. I think it's important. But just like you said, it's not everyone's career, but you can still sort of have some of that fight.
Yeah, and just respect. Maybe like if you work 9 to 5, I've got the money, I don't need to get paid for it. Maybe the respect for other people who would get paid. Just charge yourself the minimum, at least so people know like, yeah, this guy will do it for free, or everyone should do it for free.
That was interesting, it was really good. And any questions? I've got before I kind of say my 2 cents with this. Who went busking? Who busked before? A lot of people. Most people. I remember my first time busking, it was a whole different ballgame. It's like when you're battling, or even do the showcases and everything, it's whole different. Because when you're on stage in a dance event, everyone's focused on you. When you're busking, it's more like you have to get the people to look at you and stay. So it's a whole different set of skills, and you guys should try it out. Or you can just message Kapachi. He busks 7 days a week in Melbourne, and that's how he gets his money to travel and stuff. That's what he does, and we should maybe one day try something like that.
Yeah, a whole lot of us, yeah, definitely. Coming back just from LA and seeing the OGs there busking on Hollywood Boulevard, it was really an eye-opener because there were people that had been performing for a really, really long time. Some of them had been really, really famous. Some of them were a little bit in the background. Some people were new to busking, so there was a whole different levels. Some people hadn't been on the street for 20 years. Some had medical conditions, but they were still dancing. And the individuality of the dancers and all their different quirks were just, and that hustling thing, oh yeah, that's what I miss. I really, really miss that. I like doing shows, I like having a good stage, I like having a good floor, I like seeing this, I don't like seeing carpet, I don't like seeing grass or whatever, but the thing is, I really, really miss the streets. And I don't feel, just the same as the guys that I met in LA, I don't feel like I'm lowering my standard to do that, and I never did, because I come from that. But I was really lucky. I made a lot of money busking, a really lot. So, because I entertain, and it's not, as I said before, not all about straight, hard out dancing. You know, I was doing a bit of mime, a bit of robotics, a bit of magic. Don't be afraid to put a lot of different things into your act. Don't just pop. Mind you, I do a lot more things even than that. There's lots of terms. I bet Nacho Pop knows better these terms than most people do. I was doing a lot of different forms that I don't hear those terms anymore. Ragdoll, mannequin. I'm just trying to think now. I know there was a lot more than that, but I never hear anybody say them. So if anybody knows them, I'd be really, apart from you, I'd really love to know that, because I don't see those forms, I don't hear those terms. And you know, yeah, don't be afraid to diversify and collaborate. That's the other thing. Collaborate with other types of artists. It doesn't take away from you as a popper. If that's what you want to concentrate on, that's great. Train, do as much as you can to be better at what you do. But it doesn't take away from it to do other forms of dance, other forms of performance, and add them in. Like one of the guys up on Hollywood Boulevard, he had a lolly or a candy, as they say in the States, in his pocket, and he would magically make it appear from his hand and give it to a child. And the child would be very happy, you know, just part of the performance. I used to do like something, I don't know, a fake egg and bring a handkerchief out of it. I had an old lady routine at one point that had curlers in her hair, and all of a sudden I would take the outfit off and there's the young me that looks really attractive. And I had lots of characters. That's the other thing I was going to bring up. Make yourself a character. I don't know if there's a better way to put that, but not just be a popper, like a one-dimension person. Be multi-dimensional. I know there's a better way to explain it, but like one example is that there's one guy over there called Sheep Man, and that's how we often used to get our names. It's because of different things that we used to do. And apparently someone said he got that name because of the way he waves. It's like a sheet. You know, when you get a sheet and you bring it up and down, you know, when you're putting it on the bed. And I got my name Rap Attack because there's a song, Houdini's Mr. Magic's Wand. It has nothing to do with me as a rapper because I wasn't rapping at that point, and nothing to do with hip hop as well. And I was popping on top of the table, and part of the song goes, she's not having a heart attack, man, she's having a rap attack. So I was chest popping at the time. And everybody said, yeah, that's your name, so it got round and that became my name. As much as I didn't like it, I thought it was corny, it stuck. So I didn't choose it, it's not my fault. Anyway.
This is just my opinion as well, just to, I guess, build on your rap attacks for laughing at me. What the dimension thing, I think not just be like a one popper, I agree with that, like when you perform as well. One thing I noticed when performing is I like to talk about the music. So one thing, I mean, in our community here we love, like for popping, we love popping music, like G-Funk, things like that. But I notice when I personally perform, when I play a lot of these musics, they're a bit more, you know, it's got the raps and it feels a bit more gangster. I mean, but a lot of guys that I perform to, they don't understand this music. Like, music determines the whole vibe of the whole performance. Sometimes I notice when I use a lot of the popping music, people, the energy is but just my point is, don't be afraid to use other types of music as well.
Mainstream music.
Yeah. Even, you know, if we're talking about discovery, getting recognized in performance, stuff like that as well, it's easier to use something people can relate to, I guess, for me. And then it sets a whole mood, and then people, I mean, when I start using like a bit more of the old school music, as much as I love it, you know, people don't really come up to me like, oh, that's nice. But when I start using like music that people can relate to, and you know, I guess know the music more, they should come like, hey, nice dance, you know, like what exactly are you doing? I get confidence that I'm doing pop. Like the dance is the dance itself, but the music actually sets a whole mood as well. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of people I perform with, they're like, oh, let's just use this music. But I think, you know, it's hard to set the mood for people to like come and actually watch us, the music they don't like. I guess that's just my piece.
Because like, if you do performance, it's not like 3 minutes or 2 or 5 minutes or something, and you have to make the connection with the audience straight away. If not, everyone goes off, you know. So try to find as much avenues to connect with the audience, whether it's music, how you dress, your character or something people can relate to get attached, so they can follow. And once they're in your grasp, you can take them wherever. You can put your popping music.
Just like you said, you got like 5 seconds when the song comes on for them to be like, is this exciting or not? And so if it's the new latest track, the new latest Rihanna or whatever, fine. But or you could you could definitely do that. He's 100% right. You could definitely do that. Or you could do the other way and do something really weird that they've never heard, and be really subtle and they'll be like, what's happening? I don't understand. And that might catch them as well. That's a risk, and that's for later. But just know that you don't always have to go, I want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. and that will catch them, you know what I mean? For sure. But later on, try other ways too, you know what I mean? And yeah, just so you know.
I always put like a ninja basket. I was sometimes famous like a Michael Jackson music.
Yeah.
Everybody, oh, Michael Jackson, and then start, what is that? CJ dancing, and then there will be coming, you know.
Yeah. It just makes people happy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's been, you know, like, I mean, we've been talking about busking for a while now, you know. I've always been wanting, you know, to put Brandon out to busk at some stage, you know, but not knowing how to go about it. But I mean, Waywan and I, you know, we've been talking about, you know, and I think, you know, our two kids would have so much to offer, like in terms of entertainment value, you know, and being so young too. And definitely, I mean, I think our kids will be dancing until they're, you know, reaching adulthood. So I think, you know, they need to have some exposure and be out there, you know, and entertain. I definitely think, you know, when I walk through Pitt Street sometimes and I see some person banging a bucket, you know, I think to myself, you know, oh my gosh, I'm like, gosh, man, these guys should be out there, you know, entertaining and not some guy banging a drum. That'll be good.
You go?
Yeah, I noticed when I was busking in the street, by playing like electro music, it's kind of like you get a few people watching, but then when you switch to something completely different, like something really old school fun, you get, like you said, such a friendly vibe. More people come to talk to you, and then they become more friendly, because like it's more happy and it's like more...
Get some numbers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's like...
How much?
Really?
But the thing about like busking for me is that like when you said you were busking, you said you did a lot of like robotic and mime and all that kind of. But those are like really crowd pleasing and yeah. Thing is like there's more to that in popping than just doing that. You see, when you do that and people get exposed to that and think that's the only thing that is in popping, yeah, and just.
The crazy thing is, I think in a crowd, there's like, how many, you know, say 100 people, like 5 are gonna know like the subtleties of pop rap.
That's it.
And I've done it for years, like for them. Watching this, there's a whole crowd. You know, what I mean, you gotta have your emotions be up. You gotta be big, small, little. You gotta be loud, soft. You gotta be all of it.
I think it's really about you. Like if you go, it's too crowd pleasing, I don't want to do that. You have to make what you do crowd pleasing. So don't think like, if I do this, everyone will be like, oh yeah, sweet, that's what I'm gonna watch. But you got to do like, check how hard that was. You got to show them that this can be just as more crowd pleasing. Like when I'm boxing, I'm just doing all these rolls and walk out and stuff. And I'm still trying to make it crowd pleasing, so I'm trying to perform it rather than me going, and they go.
You know, alien.
I could, me and Nick Jack could just do this one. And then like. Then we might go, look at us.
But you know, it's like, it feels like
Has Aiden the robot?
Well, yeah, it's for energy levels as well when you're out there, because you're out there for a really long time. You know, it's good to, you know, do ebbs and flows of all different types of things. I find it really good because, like, at certain points I just go, oh shit, I've used too much energy. Then I'll just go into slow motion and I'll do
20 minutes.
And then there's the guys that do the Silver Man stuff and Gold Man and all of that sort of thing that travel all over the world. I know most of them. And, you know, they spend most of the day just doing this, and only when someone prods them or something, that, you know, they'll go into some kind of dance or something. Some of them don't even do that. They'll just give a lolly or do something comical. It doesn't take away from what you do. It's just what you decide that you're going to do. And not everybody is going to be able to look at you and discriminate and say, okay, that's really popping, that's really this, that's really that. It's only us in the community that understand what we're looking at. It doesn't take away from you as a person or as a performer of any kind to diversify. Because you know what you could do. At the end of the day, you know.
Anything more?
Yeah, it feels really hard to do it in Australia kind of thing.
Oh, it can happen. It can happen.
Just because it's really small right now. And because when I went to Vegas,
Yeah.
I saw a basket there, and they were just doing robotic stuff, but they were just really good at it. But they were attracting a huge attention as well.
Yeah. It takes a while. It takes a while to really know how to work the audience, the people walking past. You know, come over here, look, I've got something for you. Like I saw also a b-boy, and he was with a b-boy, a popper, and what the other guy? Oh, he did all that stuff, you know, when you contortionistic stuff to beats. I don't know what is that called.
Soleil.
Yeah, exactly. So there was three of them, and what they would do is that they would just put on one song. You've got the 3 minutes. The b-boy was the loudmouth one, so he would get there and he would say, hello everybody, we're out here to do a show. Then he'd throw a couple of jokes, which is the hustle thing. And then they'd get into each doing different things, and then they'd say, thank you very much, here's the buckets. And people were throwing that money in there because they felt like there was a relationship going on. And they weren't doing, like the popper wasn't doing hard out popping, the b-boy wasn't doing hard out b-boying, and the contortion dude, he wasn't doing the maximum. None of them were doing the maximum of what they could do.
Efficient.
But they were entertaining.
Someone had their hand up.
Well, just ignore me because it's been brought up already. But like, take it in a different direction. But basically, what are you guys' opinion on teaching? So basically, this is, I guess, related to the whole scene rather than just popping. Basically, especially with a lot of uni societies, now a lot of uni kids are teaching, or like, and it kind of seems like anyone can teach now. Like,
Actually, that was part of the agenda as well for today. So you just jumped the gun.
Thanks.
Jumped the gun. Any questions? So we can kind of move on. Is that anything else?
Okay,
Can I say like when I was in New York?
Yeah.
It's just
We
funny. So,
okay.
but when they hustle, when they bust, I remember there's guys, they were just busking there and they just came up to me and just hand me a CD. And I'm like,